Vernon, you know say me love you, do. Jesus. Vernon, you know me love you. Me love you, Vernon.
Miss Carmen?
Me and you are good friend, Jesus.
Yes, not.
Jesus. Vernon, me love you. Vernon, me always love you. Vernon, me love you. Jesus.
Tears and glowing tributes as Vernon Theophilus Lowther, age 87, is laid to rest in Lluidas Vale Cemetery, St. Catherine. Before we tell you more about that, we encourage you to contact the Jamaica Beacon for special coverage of funerals, weddings, parties, conferences, and other events. We do it differently. Call us at 876-221-1715 or 876-305-4574. Now, the details. A sobering Thanksgiving service for a man lionized for not losing his integrity throughout the 87 years he walked the face of the earth. His name, Vernon Theophilus Lowther, affectionately called Mass Vernon. Ending a protracted period of illness, he transitioned on February 11, 2022 at Linstead Public Hospital in his native St. Catherine. To honor his memory, his relatives and friends from near and far gathered at the St. Catherine-based Lluidas Vale Seventh-day Adventist Church at noon on Sunday, May 1, 2022.
For the God of the mountain is the God in the valley. When things go wrong, He'll make them right. And the God of the good time is the God in the bad times. The God of the day is your God in the night.
In the remembrance, Adassa Lowther Scarlett, one of Mass Vernon's 5 children, said her late father was hard-working, firm, loving, humble, humorous, kind, and family-oriented. For proof, she took the congregation into her childhood, reflecting on her dad's creativity in the kitchen, the scary duppy stories he told, and the many goodies he brought back from work.
We were poor, of course, but Daddy didn't make us feel that way because he would do all the things he could for us to be fed. I remember if he wants to make tea and there's no sugar, he would cut the cane, beat the joints, he would wring it in something, put it on the fire, and then he'd drop some mint in there, and that would be tea. So not having sugar didn't prevent us from having tea. He was very creative.
Lowther Scarlett also remembered that when she and her younger sister were attending high school, her father would walk 3.5 miles with them from their home in Pennington District to the bus stop in central Lluidas Vale. He did not leave them on their homebound treks in the evenings.
And we would eat sugar cane all the way home. When we reach home, you're so white. Every cane heap is stop and peel. And you know the soft one, you know? And we would talk and eat sugar cane all the way home. The journey down in the morning wasn't really so exciting because it was dark. And so myself and my sister would walk close and hug up each other because we're afraid. And then now, he would be behind us with the buckle torch, shaking it for us to get the lights. But I just want to leave with my dad this afternoon. Daddy, your life was a blessing. Your memory a treasure. You were loved beyond words and missed beyond measure. Rest well, Dad. We love you.
Mass Vernon didn't love his children only. He also had a special place in his heart for others.
You were our uncle in a million ways. Our uncle was humble, kind, loving, caring, and a good and heart and soul. I remember like yesterday how he never failed to visit us on every occasion you have got. Come rain, come shine, you were there with my mom, your sister. You were always around us. My brother, My brothers and I, who you help to nurture, will really miss you and your honestly thoughted advice. Your death came as a rude shock. We did not expect it, and we wish we have more time to continue to appreciate you.
Other persons who showed appreciation by participating in the Thanksgiving service included Trevor Hooper, nephew, former co-worker John Osborne, Troja Primary School, Pennington Seventh-day Adventist Church, and a number of Mass Vernon's grandchildren. Rosalie MacLean, a retired school principal and justice of the peace, did a show-stopping eulogy.
The characteristics of this man, as I knew him over the years, he was a very humble man. He was full of integrity. I have never heard in all my life in Pennington he has ever quarreled or had a conflict or confrontation with anyone. He was hardworking, and he had a very generous spirit, kind. His love for his family was undeniable. He loved his children and his grandchildren and other people's children.
Mass Vernon was born January 31, 1935 to Josiah Lowther and Ada Carty, who both died during Mass Vernon's childhood.
At the age of 10, Vernon was now an orphan, without a father, without a mother. Fortunately, he was not left alone, as his dearest Aunt Leah raised him along with her two children, Stanley and Iris. He was educated at the Bartons All-Age School in St. Catherine, where he was indeed an outstanding student. He was very disciplined and produced the most beautiful penmanship that we now call handwriting. He could not have it any other way, as his Aunt Leah was a teacher, and she was a stickler for educational performance.
After graduating, Mass Vernon, in search of economic independence, relocated from Barton's district in St. Catherine to Maypen in Clarendon, where he did odd jobs. He later found permanent employment as a sugarcane cutter at Bernard Lodge Sugar Estate in St. Catherine, but his tenure there was cut short due to illness. Again, Mass Vernon found refuge and restoration in his aunt, Leah, who raised him. His aunt relocated to Pennington District, and he followed suit. There he found the love of his life, Carmen Bennett, whom he wedded on December 11, 1977.
In September 1962, 1 month after Jamaica gained its independence from Britain, Mass Vernon, being a lonely young man, tall, dark, handsome, and debonair, met a nice young woman from my community, Pennington, known as Carmen Bennett. Instantly love bloomed, and the relationship began. Oh, that's a smile on her face, reminiscing.
By that time, Mass Vernon was working as a cane cutter at Caymanas Park Sugar Estate, also situated in St. Catherine. His professional journey subsequently took him to Worthy Park Sugar Estate, located about 4 miles from Pennington District, where he lived and started his family.
He worked 3 consecutive shifts, taking care of his wife and children. He worked at the general store, and his work ethics saw Mass Vernon being promoted to a store manager at one of the stores in Worthy Park. A position he held until his retirement in the year 2002.
Mass Vernon later started selling cigarettes and candy at Worthy Park Sugar Estate. That business evolved into a tiny tuck shop. He eventually closed his Worthy Park chapter and dived headlong into farming. Mass Vernon also immersed himself in Christianity, worshipping at Pennington Seventh-day Adventist Church. On your screen is Sion Williams, the pastor who baptized Mass Vernon in 2019. He, during the Thanksgiving service, expressed elation that Mass Vernon made the best choice, surrendering his life to his Maker.
The reason why this gives me comfort is because when he did that, he chose to align himself with the life giver. He gives me the opportunity to mourn for him today, but not as someone who has no hope. He gives me the privilege of grieving his loss with the hope that I will see him again. When he chose Jesus as his Savior, when he called for me to baptize him that day, it was a decision, the best decision he could have ever made was to give Jesus his heart.
After the sermon, it was time for burial. And it was time for the final look. Miss Carmen, now a widow, didn't miss the opportunity to, for the final time, declare her love.
No, man, it's when you look now. Yes, you feel better. Yes, smell, brother. Just let you look. Let me see. I'm right, Carmen. Let me look. No, I'm not doing it. Let's look out. Vernon, you know say me love you, do. Jesus. Vernon, you know me love you. Yes, Amen. Me love you, Vernon. Miss Carmen? Me and your good friend, Jesus. Yes, not Jesus. Vernon, me love you. Vernon, me always love you. Vernon, me love you. Jesus. Jesus Christ. A good somebody.
Mass Vernon is survived by his wife Carmen and 3 children. Adassa, who is a veteran educator, Ezra, who is a plumber in the United States, and Winsome, a former Jamaica Defense Force soldier, as well as 10 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren, brother Melbourne Jackson, sister Hersis Lowther, other relatives and friends. He is missed sorely.